welcome to Health Hits Experience.
The anger is sort of what keeps me going.
This is how change works. Small things all gathered together.
Make sure that the rest of the group knows.
So I need to know that you have my back on this. Hello and welcome to Health Hits Experience. If you are a long-time viewer of the show, you are probably noticing that something looks odd. That is because I am in fact not Brittany Lee, your normal your normal host for the show. I am in fact filling in for an exciting two-shot of a completely different game system. We are going to once again leave our poor ether bastards on their midst of their adventures.
They'll be fine.
They're lonesome.
They're great.
They're fine. They're doing well.
Well, we explore something a little different. And so today we are going to be playing a different game. This is called Rippers, which is a game produced by Pinnacle Entertainment Group. My God, my brain is not working.
Don't worry, we have it on our
and it
paper.
uses the
It's gonna
Savage Worlds game system, which is a very fast, fun, and furious system. It's a universal system that handles a wide number of different settings. This setting is called Rippers, and
super cool. Really cool.
And Rippers is set in the Victorian era. And our characters are all Victorian-era monster hunters. The vibe for the game, the inspiration is things like the movie Van Helsing, the TV show Penny Dreadful, or to a lesser extent, but still somewhat in there, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. That's kind of the vibe for the game, and we're going to try to recreate that for you here today. Before we get started, I do want to take a minute to once again let you know that we are coming to you live from the studios of Community Access Media. And as you probably know, if you have been watching our show, Cam is undergoing some infrastructural problems here in the building, and they would appreciate any kind of support that you can afford to give. Somewhere there is a link. There's a QR code. There's all kinds of stuff that I'm sure at some point you will see, and you will be able to click on that. And if you can, if you got any money to spare, you got a few bucks you want to throw Cam's way, that helps us to bring the show to you, because without these incredible facilities, we'd all be sitting around in our houses.
Being bored, probably.
Being bored, watching TV.
I don't do anything.
Yeah.
I just stare.
You just
So,
stare at the wall.
if you have it within you to do that,
She's seen it.
please do. Okay, so with that, we got a lot to get through here because I have this crazy, gigantic plot that I'm absolutely going to mess up, and it's going to go all haywire off the rails, and these guys are going to make fun of me, and
got 4
you'll all
hours.
laugh at that. So let's be excited about that possibility. But I do want to get things started here. So what we're going to do, imagine, if you will, because I didn't clear the rights to get any kind of cool music. So in your head, imagine some piece of gothic Victorian organ music or something, the kind of titles that you would see on a really cool movie. And the scene is going to set up on a foggy graveyard in the midst of Victorian London, circa 1896. Long shot, pulled way back, shows a small, not insignificant, but small number of mourners gathered around a grave as the priest is performing the graveside services. The camera pulls in a little bit closer, and we can see the casket laid out there with the flowers on it. You see mourners all dressed in black, huddled under their umbrellas because it is London and it is raining. You see people there from various different strata of British society. You see people there who appear to be very upper class people. You see people there who are dressed in the rags of beggars. This person who is dead, the deceased apparently knew people from across a wide strata of British society. The camera pulls in a little bit closer, and we see it homes in on 4 people in particular. A short woman with a kind of dour expression upon her face. Next to her, an enormously large man with a bowler hat. Next to them, a very smart-looking young lady with a monocle and bangs. And next to her, a rather sinister-looking gentleman wearing a large hat, a large coat, something almost feral in his expression. And as we look on these people, and as the minister, the priest, drones on in the background, the camera kind of dissolves, and we go into flashback mode.
Transport.
And now we see the first couple that I introduced sitting inside of a well-appointed study in a Victorian townhouse. There's books line the walls, table. It's not like a super rich fancy person, but this person is obviously well-to-do. And you see the two of them sitting there at a table. And the camera switches over, and we see an older gentleman who he looks to be maybe about 70-ish. He's got a bit of a rakish grin on his face. He looks a bit like this.
Aw,
There we go.
what a sweetie.
Oh, I love having visuals.
And he says, "Well, thank you very much for coming. I'm quite pleased that you accepted my invitation. It's not often in our line of work that when I bring somebody in for an interview, they insist on being paid up front. But given your rather unique skill set and the fact that you may be a good fit for our organisation, I felt it was worth it."
Well, if you don't value your own time, then who will?
Indeed. Now, just for the record here, I'd like to ask you a few bit of questions, and I'll tell you a bit about our organisation, and we'll see if we can come to an arrangement that is mutually beneficial to both of us then, right?
Go on.
One thing that you notice about this gentleman is that even though he is dressed in the attire of a well-to-do, middle-class Londoner, he speaks a bit with an accent, and he has mannerisms that belie a more rough upbringing, that he probably was not always of this social status that he appears to be here. He says, "First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Mr. Dodge, Arthur Dodge, and I represent an organisation that could use people with your rather unique skill set."
Well, Mr. Dodge, you've been quite cryptic this whole time, and like I said before, my time is valuable, so if you could get to the point.
Yes, right. Before I do, when we sought you out, it was because I had heard rumours that you had recently had an experience of some sort that would not be in fitting with what normal people have encountered.
You'd see that Dr. Natura's face would drop at the mention of it.
Yes. So before I can tell you about our organisation, I need to confirm that in fact this is what happened. I need to hear it from you in your own words, what exactly it was you faced. And then we can discuss how you might fit in with our organisation. Why don't you start by telling me your name and a little bit about yourself before we get to the meat and potatoes, as it were?
Right. I am Dr. Natura, as I'm sure you already knew. This here is my husband, Craig.
I'm Craig.
He's a very lovely man. As you may have noticed, he is a rather large gentleman.
Yeah, pretty big. It's on account of the thing.
Yes, the creature that we did happen to run into was that of a troll.
A troll, you say?
Yes.
A troll. Now, there's no such thing as trolls. We all know that. What exactly do you mean by a troll?
Well,
You see, I would have believed at one point that there were no such thing as trolls until one flipped our carriage. And we barely made it out with our lives, but thankfully I never go anywhere unarmed. And
she's got a shotgun.
yes, I do. And we did manage to defeat it, and it seemed like such an odd creature that I decided to take some home. I have a PhD in biology, so you know how it goes.
She's got a couple of those.
And
She's so smart, my Joey.
Please don't call me that in front of people.
All
and
right, Joey.
Darling, could you get me a cup of tea?
Right.
Thank you. And it turns out that thanks to newer technologies that you are able to essentially harness the powers of these beings. And so I decided to use my husband Craig here as an experiment, and it worked wonders.
She said to me, Craig, we're going to have this surgery and it's going to be a good time. And then it was.
Yes.
I'd say the only side effects he really got is a change of the hue of his skin, and he did, in fact, grow another foot.
Like he's got 3 feet now?
No, as in height.
I see. Yes, very well. And he's jotting notes throughout the whole
Craig,
of
darling,
this.
could you stand up for a minute?
Craig stands up.
And how tall is Craig when he stands?
Craig is standing up. He is 7'2". He's very beefy, though not like overly like bodybuilder, like chubby built kind of thing. I think
Barrel chested.
A thickums.
Like those
He's
guys in
thick
the
with 2
strongman
Cs.
competitions, you know.
Yeah.
Right. And he is dressed very simply in a white, a very large white button-up that is straining against his bulk, an untied tie in his little bowler cap. But his skin does have a grayish hue, not quite sickly, but
It's almost like a greenish gray. Like, he looks fine, but it's like, am I seeing that? You know?
Yeah, looks a
He's
bit like
sick.
a
Oh,
pork
and
chop that started to go bad because you left it on the counter
yeah.
overnight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
but then
his
you
eyes
toss
are
in the pan
yellow.
anyway.
Sure.
Yeah.
His eyes are also yellow.
Yes,
Nice.
also.
All right. So you stand up, and Mr. Dodge looks at you and please sit back down.
Craig just
Well, that does comport with the research that we did on you. Tell me something. This surgery that you performed. Where exactly did you get the idea for doing this? How did you know what to do or how it could be? Have you
Well, I'm simply
read some papers by?
simply very smart.
yes,
and,
yes.
2 PhDs, my Joey.
Are you familiar with the work of a Dr. Victor Frankenstein?
Yes, of course. Who isn't?
Yes. Right.
Who's that?
Don't worry about it.
All right.
The organisation that I represent is known as the Rippers because precisely we are the ones who developed that technology of which you are speaking, because we are dedicated to fighting the creatures that lurk in the dark corners of the world.
Oh.
And the fact that you were able to figure this out on your own means that you have a mind that we want to bring on board. And the fact that your husband here is a gobsmackingly large gentleman who looks like he could lift over a hansom and throw it across the road means that he's the kind of fella that we want to bring on board.
And
So-
what is it exactly that you are trying to bring us on board to do?
That creature that you fought,
Yes.
that is just one of many sorts of nasties what lurk about in this world of ours. And there are some very, very bad individuals who are trying to organize them and get them to instill them into positions of power. They're going to try to put them into places of power. We try to stop them from doing that because the cost in human life would be insurmountable.
Are you asking me to kill more of those creatures?
I'm asking you if you would like the opportunity to have access to facilities and research and parts that could sate your scientific curiosity. And you'd be doing it for the greater good.
Oh, I don't much care about that.
No, she doesn't.
But how would you feel? How much does it pay?
And with that, we're going to cut away from you two.
No, I just want half an hour of haggling.
Yeah. We're going to go back to the funeral here, and we see the two of you there looking down at the grave, mournfully.
Craig, please.
Craig is a little bit broken up.
Your
The camera
wails
pans
are
over to the
rather
other couple that we saw there. And once again, as we zoom in on their face, we have another dissolve, and they're sitting in the same study across from the same gentleman. And he says, well, thank you very much for coming. I must say that in the many years that I've been doing this is the first time that someone's ever sought us out. Normally, our organization is, how should I say, a bit difficult to come by. We're rather secretive, as it were. And yet here you are.
I did a little digging around.
Yes.
It's kind of my specialty.
My wife is very, very intelligent. She's quite good at putting things together.
Yes. As we looked into you, that's what we found out. The Remingtons, is it?
Yes, of course. You might have heard of our detective agency.
I had not, until I found out that you were making inquiries about our organization, and then we did a bit of research ourselves. I must say that your capacity for tracking down information, for ferreting out bits of knowledge, and such forth is very, very impressive. So kudos to you, young lady.
Well, thank
I
you.
understand from what I've heard that you are in fact the brains of the organization. No offense intended to you, sir.
No, none taken. This is entirely true, and we both know it.
Oh, yes, but it is very good to have him because while I do have the smarts, I do not have the brawn, that's for sure.
So you're a bit of a combat specialist then, sir?
Well, I was hired on for that exact purpose.
Yes.
I was originally hired as a bodyguard, and then we just sort of hit it off.
My inquiries also indicate that there's a specific reason that you sought us out in particular. And it has to do with your husband here. Would you care to tell us, or would you, or shall we call this meeting quits then?
Well,
Go ahead, Wayne, it's hard.
if you are who I believe you to be, your organization, I believe you may have insight as to a curious affliction that we've come across recently. We fought an odd entity. We were hunting down a series of animal attacks. And, well, we found what appeared to be a hybrid of a man and a beast of some sort. We did
really?
manage to wound it, although it did escape, but not before it managed to wound me too.
Yes.
And afterwards, well, things began to get a little odd. Things you hear about in stories.
Yes.
You might have heard, of course, of werewolves. Things of those types. That's what we
Nonsense.
believe it to be.
Fiction, of course, not
He's
such
gonna
things.
pull down like part of his outfit, and you could see the big like bite, like the mark in his neck.
And Arthur leans way over, takes a look at it, and says, might I ask you how long ago did this occur?
Oh, goodness. Well, after the last full moon, we realized something needed to happen. Something needed to change, of course.
Of course.
So we've been searching for the last, I don't know, month and a half or so.
You take precautions during the changing of the moon?
I do, yes.
You've come to us hoping that we can help you with a more permanent solution, is that it?
Well, I'm not sure if there is one.
Well, there is one.
Oh, not that one. Another one, perhaps.
Right. Normally, I must admit, it would be my decision to put you out of your misery and stop you from posing a danger to yourself, your loved ones, and society at large. However, it just so happens that we recently brought on a new scientific person, and I think that if they work with you and the research that we have, it may be possible to, if not cure you, at least give you the means by which you are able to control yourself during the change of the moon.
Ah, yes, that would be quite nice.
Yes, that would. I would like my husband to remain living.
Yes, me too.
Very well. With that then, I think that we can find a space for you in our organization. You will, of course, have to earn this by doing some work for us, but I assure you, our work is the Lord's work. We are doing what we can to make the world a safer place. And having you on board with your skills and your skills, I think that you can help us make a difference.
You will
What say
surely
you?
not be disappointed.
I think we can do quite a lot for you.
Very well. And with that, the camera fades back to the two of you at the funeral. Bolt of lightning crashes overhead. And the music swells, the camera pulls back, and we see the mourners starting to move away from the grave until only these four are left standing at the graveside.
Perhaps you should hold the umbrella. You're soaking wet.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, actually, have to sort of duck down there. Thank you.
What's the height difference between you guys?
Not as big as yours.
Well, no, I hope not.
Ours is only a foot, while yours is 2.
Okay. To be fair, it used to be a foot.
Mine used to be, before we fought the big fella.
All right, and then the camera stops with just the four of you there, and as the four of you are there at the thing, the camera dissolves once more into a bit of the little flashback effect, and it is now that same room where you had your interviews, except now it is nighttime. All right. Outside, you can see that it is dark through the windows. The breeze is blowing in through the one open window that lets out onto the balcony there. There's broken glass all on the floor. And as the camera pulls back, we see that this room has been the site of a horrific battle of some sort. Desks are pushed over, chairs are flown about. And there are several dead bodies lying about this room. Some of the underclass of London society, your basic hired thugs and goons, appear to have been given a good what for. There is a body lying on the ground in a swell of blood, a pool of blood. And as the camera comes closer, we see that it is Mr. Dodge, the gentleman who in fact hired you, brought you on, and had interviewed you. There are various London Bobby police officers milling about, and there is a police inspector standing nearby, and he is talking to the four of you who are in this room here.
Quick question.
Yes.
Do the police know about the Rippers?
They do not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good thing. I'm glad you asked that.
Wouldn't imagine they would.
Because I had a feeling they wouldn't, but maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So weapons are probably put away. You don't have your shotgun.
Oh, but I still have my coat rack.
Yeah, you do.
Clothes,
Yes,
whatever.
The coat rack is important. It was very intimidating.
Yes,
you
it
should
was.
have seen it.
All right, so, and in the aftermath of this fight that took place here in the quarters of Mr. Dodge, a place where Mr. Dodge is dead, the police inspector is just questioning you, and he's been through the questions a number of times, apparently, but he's or you've been talking to various police, and the inspector now says, "All right, so let me see if we've got this straight. The deceased, Mr. Dodge, he was a friend of yours, an employer?
Both.
Both.
He was a friend and an employer.
I like to think he was more of a father.
Oh,
I
dear.
see. So he's always like a mentor to you, yes?
Yes, yes.
I see. And he contacted you to come over here. He consults his note. To come over here this evening, yes?
Yes.
Now, when you arrived, tell me what happened, what you found.
Well, the first thing we found was that the front door was simply unlocked, which was unlike him, and all the lights were out, and we could not find the housekeeper,
No, she wasn't about.
which is also odd.
'Cause she lives here.
Yeah. Right.
Yes, because she lives here. And Wayne went ahead to scope it out, make sure everything was safe, and next thing you know, there's all these thugs in here, and
Yes, they did attack us first, unfortunately.
there was
I
quite
see,
a
I
lot.
see.
We walked in, and we was like, "Hey, Arthur," and there wasn't sound, so we went in, and a bunch of guys they fucked up.
They were untrained, unfortunately, and they weren't very good at what they were doing.
I see. So you then engage with these ruffians, and he looks over, and there's like one of the people has these giant claw marks across his chest, and he says, "How exactly did that happen there?"
Well,
Oh, it was the coat rack, actually. It's very sharp.
Yes.
yes, we had to use what we could find, and, several of these individuals were carrying knives, and so I was trying to collect them, and I used them to the best of my capabilities.
I see. That was a very strange thing you did, cutting them in parallel slashes like that, sir.
Well, unfortunately, I wasn't sure if he was still dead, so I needed to triple check.
I see. Now, the deceased over here, when you arrived, he was still alive?
I believe he was
No,
already dead.
no. When we got there, our dear Arthur was already dead. Because I'm the one who found him, and I made sure, because he was on the floor, unconscious seemingly, and then when I went over, there was no pulse.
I see. And I'm looking here, and it appears as though he's got large marks in his back, as though he were attacked by a savage beast. What do you know about that?
We don't know. We got here, and he was already like this, and then we got attacked, and then we defended ourselves, and we called you.
Unfortunately, we couldn't really ask the thugs for their input because they were already dead.
I see.
They immediately attacked, more like.
Looking around here, it appears as though there was...
Well, wait, there was one that got away, right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh,
I don't
sorry.
believe there was, Craig.
Oh. Well, you see, these individuals, they are flight risks.
Aha. Yes, all right. I don't know what that means, but I'm going to go on here. So the room here looks as though somebody was searching for something.
Yes.
Would you have any idea what it was that they were doing here? Were they just trying to rob the place?
I mean, they were so untrained and just very many rookie mistakes. I mean, anyone who's watched
mistakes.
anyone who's watched any kind of a show would understand.
I don't believe I've seen the same shows you've seen, and there's only been a few traveling troops in town. However, we are detectives. We've seen many things like this before. They were clearly not understanding of what they were doing. They were most likely paid, given a knife, and told to ransack the place.
So
Very good.
we don't know if they were simply looking for money that they were told would be here. Arthur's not a wealthy man, as far as I'm
No, but he
aware.
was relatively well off.
I think he had his
Right.
connections, though.
We
so.
brought him ham hocks sometimes.
You what?
A ham hock. Pieces of ham?
I've never...
Oh, did you say hunk?
Yeah.
Oh, hunks of ham. Yes.
Craig, you need to enunciate sometimes.
Oh, right.
Sorry.
It's all right, dear.
I see. Well, with that then, I'm going to... I've taken your statements. You're free to go. However, you should be available if we have more questions for you.
Oh, yes, of course.
Very good. And he takes down your names and addresses, and Wayne's contacting you, and one of the officers escorts you out of the building. So once you're outside on the building, outside of the building, you have a chance to talk, and there is as you guys were looking around afterwards, you found a copy of Arthur's day planner. All right.
Ooh, okay.
If you.
I do recall
I would
that.
assume that we did not show that to the
No,
cops.
we snatched that and did
Right.
not mention it.
But I have posted it up here, and we'll just go through. The appointment book that you found in Mr. Dodge's office yielded some information. First, you see that Mrs. Thornton, his landlady, housekeeper / cook / personal assistant, is currently out of town visiting her sister,
Of course
who was
she
injured
is.
in an accident. She left a week ago and anticipates being gone for some time as her sister's injuries were rather grievous. Reading through Arthur's horrid scrawl, you understand why your mentor employed the clerical services of Mrs. Thornton. His notes are nearly indecipherable. However, in his little schedule book, there are some dates of potential importance. April 24th, which was the day before his demise, so yesterday at this flashback time, Mr. Dodge went to see Mrs. Harker at the Van Helsing estate, which you know to be the main lodge for the entire Rippers organization. April 5th, today, he has marked down that he was scheduled to meet with the four of you at his London townhouse at 10 p.m., which was the meeting that you showed up for and where you came upon a robbery / murder in progress. And then finally, he has meetings listed for the following week. So as you look through, he has Tuesday, 10 a.m., Scroggs, board the 10:15 omnibus at Piccadilly Circus towards Charing Cross Station. 9 p.m., McGinty, Shoreditch Animal Market. Midnight, meet Bowers at the Tower Bridge Western Walkway. And then Wednesday, 11 a.m., Cratchit at the Soane Museum. You don't have any idea what these meetings are for, but it is the evening of the 25th, so it is Friday night right now. As you're out here immediately after the incident at the thing.
So Wednesday's the day he died?
No, today was so we're in a flashback right now.
Oh.
Right.
We're in the flashback to where you guys came from the funeral. We flashback to where you found his dead body. You fought a bunch of thugs. We learned the rules for the Suede system, the Savage World system, off stream so that we could get that underway. And we are recapping it now for the audience.
Yes, yes.
We sure are.
But
Excellent.
As we peel back the curtain and look behind the scenes.
My immersion.
But you said the 24th.
So the 24th
is
today.
The day before he died.
The 24th was yesterday. That was Thursday. Today is the 25th. Today is Friday.
Okay.
He just passed away.
So
the
these-
funeral, when we go back to the funeral, it's Monday. The following day is Tuesday, which is the first thing on his thing.
Got it. Okay.
All right?
So,
Time travel.
Right.
Flashbacks. They're so exciting.
darling, are you
Wow,
making
wow.
anything from this? I mean, it certainly seems suspicious. I mean, the grievous wounds strikes me as very odd.
Yes, I agree.
Well, you saw that thing.
Well, sure, but was that the thing that
Yeah, I was going to
attacked?
say, did the figure that we saw have like sharp?
Oh, yeah.
It was
yeah.
It did, okay.
four-armed
Gargoyle.
gargoyle.
Yeah.
Yes, for the
I
benefit of the
imagine.
audience who did not play through the game, perhaps you can recount a little bit what it was that you fought.
What actually happened,
What
and not
actually
the
happened.
lies we're
not
telling
the lies you
cops?
told the
Right.
police, but now you can talk amongst yourself about
Right.
what really happened and and clue the audience in.
What I don't understand is what these everyday Joes are doing in the apartment with that thing.
Yes, I agree. That is very
It
peculiar.
didn't attack them.
Well, of course,
No.
oftentimes, remember, darling, that we have people that are hired off the streets because they're simply labor, right?
Oh, I suppose, but
Imagine-
just still them
Is
being
that thing
acquainted with
intelligent
something
enough
like
to
that.
hire
It does seem
people?
strange.
Yeah,
it
that's-
does suggest that the gargoyle had some sort of intellect to it.
Well, and not to mention, you two could barely put a dent in it.
Well, to be
So-
fair, I was using 3 daggers taped to my arm.
Right, I was using my club.
Yes, and I'm
Which
very,
reminds me,
very
by the
proud
way,
of
that we
you.
should pick up a sledgehammer at some point if we are to continue going down this pathway, as I cannot really use these very well against stone.
What, would you also like a hammer and a pick? What the
No, that would take forever. In fact, we probably should make up another shotgun. That was the most effective thing against that thing.
Yes, it was.
It's a known fact that gargoyles are scared of hammers.
Where did you learn that?
When or where?
Both.
Oh,
One moment, please, Craig.
yeah,
Come here.
yeah.
Stop talking.
I'm sorry, Joey.
Thank you. Anyways,
Right. Well, so you see, the wounds in Arthur's back were obviously from the gargoyle. Undoubtedly. No, the thing that stands out to me as odd is that Mrs. Thornton was out of town because her sister was injured
yes,
severely.
I did notice that.
Yes.
Suggests that this was a planned thing.
But
Although-
by whom?
That would have to be far in advance.
Yes.
Maybe it was the gargoyle.
And we still don't know what they were looking for.
No, we certainly don't. And also, we also don't know what Arthur wanted to tell us. Perhaps he learned something from from Mrs. Harker. Is Jonathan still alive? Does anybody know? I don't recall off the top of my head.
Who?
Probably at least one of you would know that Jonathan Harker lives in Budapest, and he leads a faction of the Rippers known as the Old Worlders. It is composed mostly of Eastern Europeans, people who come from countries where, they still believe in all this stuff, So,
Okay, cool.
meanwhile, Mina Harker, after Professor Van Helsing died, she took over the London operation of a faction known as the Slayers, and she is like now the head.
Well.
She's like the head of the
So
whole
do we have
Rippers
contact
organization.
with her then?
You do not, because you are low-level operatives. This, what you would have found out in the time that you've been working for them is that it is it's a very hierarchical structure. It's almost organized in cells. So like you're a small group who reports to somebody at a higher level than you,
And then they report.
and they report up. So so your chapter was run by Arthur Dodge, and he reported to someone a little bit higher up who reported higher up the thing. So that's
Right.
kind of the structure of it.
By the way, for those at home, the only reason I knew the name Jonathan was because it's all Dracula related. That's where the Harkers are from. It's like their whole thing.
There you go.
Just say,
Are you suggesting that we go all the way to the top with this?
Well, perhaps not.
There's no way we would ever get an audience.
No, certainly not. That's undeniable. We should at least chase some of these leads, though.
I would agree.
Yes, I mean, we could follow the day planner. We could possibly meet up with those he was going to meet up with soon.
Well, I mean, it has things on it for tomorrow, so...
No, has things on it for several days from now because we're still
Several days
we're
from
still in
now.
the past.
Yeah.
Oh, right. We're still at the...
We're still in the flashback. You
yeah.
guys are walking away from the from
Well,
his
it has
townhouse.
some events in it. We'll
It's
just have
currently the
to...
25th, according to this bookworm.
Yes, it's currently the total. If there's one thing I know, it's that Brittany loves time travel in games.
oh, she's so into it.
All right, so we're gonna fade off on this. So you guys found some information, some clues, some potential leads to follow up on, and even more mystery and unknown bits of business that you don't have any idea what it could all possibly mean. You know that your good friend and mentor is dead. You know that some kind of large, frightening monstrosity flew in through a window, murdered him, and then a bunch of thugs came in at the same time and they were searching for something in his townhouse. You also know that the fact that they were still searching when you finished off means that they probably did not find whatever they were looking for.
Yeah. Presumably it wasn't in his apartment.
And when you looked around, you did not find anything unusual either that you could decide that they might have been looking for. So mystery upon mystery upon mystery. God, the Victorian era is wonderful, is it not?
So wait, did we get a lot of time to look around to like really
Yeah, you
make
guys.
sure?
Yeah,
Okay.
you guys. Yeah,
I just
after,
wanna make sure
after the battle.
I assume we called the cops.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're like-
after the battle, you guys went through, looked around. You didn't find whatever it was that they were looking for. They did a pretty thorough job of searching the place and didn't find whatever they were looking for. They obviously didn't have it because they were still searching when you arrived.
Right.
So
In the dark, like ding-dongs.
yeah. So we're gonna flash back now, and we are no longer at the graveside. We are outside of an enormous country estate. It's a large, very ornate, very Victorian building that is was at one time the residence of Professor Abraham Van Helsing. It is now the headquarters of the entire Rippers organization. There are a number of cabs and carriages that have come across to here, and let me get you guys tokens all on there, although I think you don't need token vision for this. Can everybody see it?
Not.
Oh, yes.
All right, cool.
I'm looking at that screen.
But do you have it on your screen?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I'll still put you guys on there so you're there. All right.
Perfect.
So after the funeral, you were actually invited, along with some of the other people that knew Mr. Dodge, to come to a not really a wake, but it's a memorial gathering for some of his friends and his associates and whatever, and it's being held here at Van Helsing Manor, which is a country estate a bit outside of the center of town. You know, cabs are dropping people off. You recognize people from the upper crust of London society. You know, the big name people. Like the Queen is not here,
Right.
But there are probably a couple of royals that have rolled into this building. There's like, you know, politicians that you recognize.
Yeah.
Bunch of dukes.
Yes, exactly. You also recognize people who you may not have worked with them, but there's something about them that you can tell that they are definitely members of the Rippers organization as well. So there's like two classes of people here. There's like politicians and stuff. So apparently Mr. Dodge was a bit better connected than you even knew.
Right.
That these people are here. And there's a few people here like yourselves who knew him from his sideline work. As you make your way,
This is a great opportunity for, what's it called?
Networking.
Yes, thank you. I'm so proud of you.
Thanks. Thanks. I love you, Joey.
I love you too.
It will never get old.
Craig leans all the way down, pulls the little bowler hat off of Dr. Natura's head and gives her a little smooch on the top of the head, puts the hat back and goes, roll it.
So precious.
It's very sweet.
yeah. And just then, somebody who is walking up to the gate says, "Well, that was quite sweet indeed. You are correct.
Thank
How
you.
are you?"
We are well. How are you?
Very, very good to hear that you are doing well. This is. I do not believe that we have had the pleasure of meeting, but I understand that you were members of Mr. Dodge's group.
Yes.
You
That is
We were,
correct.
yes. Before.
I hold a similar. I hold a similar status as Mr. Dodge within the organization.
Oh.
Is your name Arthur too?
My name is not Arthur at all. The gentleman that you are talking to is this fellow here. He looks rather like that.
Ooh, he's so dapper.
Yes.
He's quite dapper.
Big mustache.
Yes, he's got a very impressive moustache.
So does Craig.
That's true.
And he says, "My name is Rolf Herman." He says, I am in charge of a lodge up in Yorkshire. But I have worked with Arthur on numerous occasions in the past, and I am very, very sorry about his passing. And I wish to offer my condolences to you, all of you. I know it will be difficult to make your way without your leader.
Are they going to be replacing Arthur, or
We got a new offer.
no, dear?
A new
We
leader
would
of
get
our
yes,
cell.
we would get a new boss, but
Oh.
Arthur's gone. I'm sorry.
I know.
Oh, darling. Oh, sorry.
Well, assuming he stays dead.
he gets very emotional sometimes.
That is all right, my friend. And he pulls out a handkerchief and hands it over to you.
He takes it. Dabs his eye. And he goes,
It's like soaked.
yeah, thank you.
He says, well, I'm sure that part of the reason that we are here is because that is going to be discussed. There is a possibility that you will be finding yourselves either transferred to a new organization or someone will be brought in to cover Arthur's ground here. That is, I'm sure, why Mrs. Harker invited you to this gathering. Normally, the rank and the file would not be brought for such a thing.
Would Mrs. Harker be attending?
I believe that she is in residence at the moment, yes.
Oh, that would be actually quite perfect. You wanted to ask her some questions, yes, darling?
Well, one does not just go and ask Mrs. Harker questions.
Yeah, you gotta knock on the door first.
Yes. Well, shall we enter?
Yes, thank
it
you.
has stopped raining, but still it is rather cold out here in this damp London air.
Yes, of course.
So the five of you walk inside of the establishment, and once you're in,
it's quite nice.
The place is very, very fancily appointed. It's a very stately manor.
Craig?
There's all sorts of...
Do not touch anything.
Yes, there's a lot of breakables in here.
Well, can I sit on something?
Gently, please.
Right.
We can't
And then he
afford
plops
anything in here.
directly down into one of the armchairs.
Oh, goodness.
Goodness.
Does it break?
I'm going to say that it groans uncomfortably under the weight of Craig, and you can feel the legs starting to go out. As a person who has broken many chairs in my life, I know exactly the feeling and can describe it with incredible accuracy.
Always gentle.
Yes, you are.
Yes. Milling about, there are, very liveried servants, carrying trays, with butler service with hors d'oeuvres and glasses of wine and whatnot.
Well, this is certainly upper class.
Yes, it is. You also notice that there are various people stationed around the place who, for want of anything else, as a description, are clearly security. They appear to be considerably more competent than the nameless thugs that you rousted the previous evening, and they are, if this were modern times, they would have the little earpieces in and be talking into their cuffs.
The sunglasses.
Yes, but since they don't, they're just big Victorian men, well dressed, but clearly there for security at the mansion. You see people milling off into various groups. The upper crust dukes and earls are in one area chatting amongst themselves to each other. Off to the other side, you see various politicians and whatnot chatting. And off on the other side there, you see a couple of people, and they strike you again as being definitely members of the Rippers organization. Rolf says, come, I will introduce you to some more of the members of the organization that you probably have not had a chance to meet, as they are also not from the town here.
That would be perfect. Can I hold up my arm?
Yes.
Perfect.
You make your way across, and the first thing you notice is that there is a lady there who is dressed in just an outlandish costume, like ridiculously...
Like we're going to the Met Gala kind of ridiculous?
Like she's performing at the Met Gala kind of ridiculous.
Oh, no.
Another thing that you know about the Rippers is that there is a faction that style themselves as like almost costumed crime fighters.
Oh.
They call themselves the Masked Avengers. The most famous of whom is an American known as the Yankee who fights monsters with gadgets and whatnot.
Americans.
Yes, but there are certainly plenty of British ones. You've heard tales, and to be honest, Arthur never had a very high opinion of the members of this faction. He thought they were a bit dopey himself, but effective.
Yeah.
But Jill's kind of dopey. In fact, there's one who you actually have probably run across, as he is a resident of London, Spring-Heeled Jack.
Oh, is he here?
Spring-heeled Jack, he's kind of a dick, so like you don't like him, and he tends to be a bit of a loner, but he has like these boots that with springs in them that he can like jump real far, and he also has these weird gadgets that let him like breathe fire and stuff. So he's kind of kooky.
Wait, so is he here?
He is not here.
Okay, good. I wanted to know so I could avoid him.
Yeah.
I wanted to know so I could take one of the springs out of his boot when he's not looking.
Oh, that would be rather funny.
Yes.
So clearly this woman who is here is a member of that faction because she is dressed in an outlandish costume. And in fact, she looks rather something like this. Bum, bum, bum.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, goodness.
You recognize, of course, immediately who she is supposed to be without even knowing anything about her because you've seen her on coins. This is, of course, somebody who has styled themselves as Britannia, the personification of the nation of Great Britain. Much like in our timeline, Captain America is all gung-ho and like that. She
and
definitely...
you said, is she American?
She is not American.
Okay.
That would be worse.
Because you said there was an American one. I was like, damn, bitch.
No, there is.
That's the Yankee.
The Yankee who is the most famous of the Masked Avenger faction of the Rippers. He's quite legendary. She is not legendary. You've never heard of her, but clearly that's who she is. And there's a third person who is here, and he.
I love having these photo references. It's very nice.
I know.
Oh, he's just a gentleman.
He's just a
He's
guy.
just a gentleman. He's wearing very gentlemanly kind of clothes, but he also looks a bit, I don't want to say uncomfortable in them, but this is not, he seems a little bit out of his element. Something about him, he looks a little bit out of his element dressed up in all this finery. So as you make your way over to them, Rolf introduces you to them. He says, my friends, allow me to introduce two more leaders of the Rippers. And you kind of have gone off into a little side drawing room where there's nobody else around, right? Mm-hmm. You've gone off into a little area there, and there's so it's just the seven of you there. This is Lady Britannia, and this is Mr. Henry Moncrief. And Lady Britannia kind of looks over at you and says, "Oh, it is my very great pleasure to make your acquaintance, all of you. Hello."
Yes, it's quite nice to meet you as well.
Yes. And Mr. Moncrief, he looks over and says, so you were Arthur's crew, is that it?
Sort of. More, individual jobs.
I see, yeah. Well,
I like to think of us as family.
Right.
All that, if you're
so
correct.
freelancers who are also like family.
Well, we was family with Arthur. We're friends with them.
Freelancers on our end.
I see. Well, my name's Henry Moncrief. Very pleased to make your acquaintance. Sorry it's on such a sad occasion.
Yes, unfortunately, we do
Simply
miss
how-
Arthur, do we?
And Lady Britannia kind of, yes, such a great loss to the organization.
And what was your connection to Arthur? Did you know him well?
I've known him for years. We've gone on missions together in the past. He's quite deceptively skillful. I don't know how much you know about his past, but Arthur was just one of the most charming people.
He never really talked much about his past, did he, darling?
Not sure if I recall.
Far be it from me to gossip about the recently deceased, of course, but, well, I don't suppose it matters now. Arthur, when he was young, was actually a street urchin.
Oh, you don't say.
Really?
He was, yes. He grew up on the streets in one of the horrible rookeries or stews around town. And when he was a small boy, he was transported to Australia.
Oh,
If you can believe it, yes.
I see.
Australia.
Yes, transported to Australia. And Moncrief says, well, true, he was transported to Australia as a boy, but he made a great success of himself there. Became very successful in business while he was down under, as it were, and came back to London, and he actually was one of the people what helped form the organisation.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Quite
Although
impressive.
He was very, very skilled individual. You know, his abilities from when he was a boy as a pickpocket. He was able to get in and out of most places without being seen. He had a network of contacts a mile wide.
Well, it sort of makes you wonder how he got caught off guard, then. It seems like a surprise they were such thugs.
Yes, thugs. And Rolf says, yes, I was able to contact someone that I know at Scotland Yard, and they told me that in the police report there was indication of something possibly worse than
There was
thugs.
What did we call it? Was it a gargoyle?
Yes.
Yes, a gargoyle. Yes, four-armed and everything.
And
We
all
saw
three
it.
of them, you have their rapt attention now. They're just, this is what we're here for, right?
Yes.
Oh, you weren't aware. Fantastic.
Oh. Sorry. I don't mean to gossip either. But yes, it was a stony gargoyle. Rather resistant to most damage, I would say.
Well, not my Joey.
Ah, yes, well, shotguns, you know, they tend to be like that.
And Lady Britannia said, oh yes, I suppose if you're forced to rely on such modern methods.
It was the most effective one.
Yes. Well,
I have
I
found that science normally trumps magic.
does it now?
Yes.
Just in my studies, I have found that
boy.
calling upon the ancient rituals and rites of our druidic forefathers, it is much, much more effective. And the other two are like, oh, for God's sakes, would you shut up about that? Yes, we all have heard about it.
Is there champagne going around? Like on the
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm grabbing a couple
I
of
got
those.
two. I'm double fisting it, man.
Cheer to that.
Right, yes.
I've got an entire bottle.
Where did
Which
you...
is like a cup for you. Like,
Where did
So
you
they,
go?
I don't know.
So from what I heard, it appears that they were searching for something in his quarters. But do you know what it was that they were looking for?
No, we really came up short there.
No, there was no
they
indication.
were still searching when we arrived.
A bunch of blokes.
Oh, I see. So that means that whatever it was, they probably didn't find it, which means they are still looking. That gives us a chance to perhaps waylay them if we can only figure out what it was that Arthur had, or that they thought he had, that then he could...
Yes, we've been wondering that same question ourselves as to what he might have had. Clearly he wasn't keeping it in his apartment unless it was extraordinarily well hidden. We really made sure to check the place.
Well, I will certainly, while I am in town here, contact some of the people that I might know and see what I can find out about it. Yes, normally I don't come to town very often. I'm quite happy performing my researches in Bath. But since I'm here in town, I do have a few knowledgeable people that I can contact. And
What kind of monster gets in your bath?
No, I'm from the city of Bath.
Oh, that's fine, because it's the
The city
same
of
as the other
Bath, in
thing.
case you don't know, is one of the most historic sites in all of the British Isles. It was not only one of the first
Thanks, I don't know
places-
where it is.
the first places where the Romans had a great settlement, but it also has a great history of our druidic knowledge that precedes the Romans.
Right,
And
yes.
she looks ready to just go off onto a big diatribe about history that she's all into, and you definitely are not.
I'm
Can I
afraid
try
to
and,
say
like,
we
sneak
don't
away?
have time for this right now.
Yes. And Moncrief, he says, as it so happens, I'm currently not even stationed in the British Islands. I just happen to be in town. I'm right now in Cairo, but I'm here doing some research on something that's involved down there with Mr. Fraser and his group. So I've been doing some looking into things at the British Museum. I'm afraid most of my contacts in town have dried up, so I probably won't be of much help as far as finding things out. But if you need a hand with any rough and tumble work, and with that, he kind of cracks his knuckles, and
Yes, of
you can
course.
tell
What was
that
your name
he's
again?
definitely more a man of action, like the two of you, and less a man of let's figure out what's going on. And he says, if you look to bust some skulls up, by golly, feel free to give me a call. I'd love to get my hands dirty again.
Yes. What was your name again?
Moncrief.
Moncrief.
Yes.
Fantastic.
We may be
Thank
in
you.
touch in case the other jobs dry up.
Fantastic. And just as, you're doing a little bit more chit-chatting there about stuff, a servant comes. Pardon me. Oh, Mrs. Harker would like to know if you have a moment free that you could visit her in her office. She wishes to speak to the four of you.
Oh, yes.
absolutely.
That is perfect. Yes, we would love to.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. We're not busy.
Yeah. Show us the way.
Wonderful. If you'll follow me, please. And he kind of escorts you through.
Does the chair collapse after I get out of it?
As you get out of it, the chair does not collapse, but you almost feel as though it's giving a sigh of relief.
It probably will break for the next
The next
person.
person
that's
is
visiting.
visibly
Next person
strained.
Oh,
That's
it's
why I
their
tell
fault.
myself every time I sit in a chair and break it that it was the last fat ass.
It was the last one. Yeah, no. It was getting weakened for a while. It's like the
That's right.
pickle
Yeah,
jar.
it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
He escorts
God, we're
you
not talking about it
through
anymore.
into an office, and as you make your way in there is a woman sitting behind the desk.
Oh, she's already in here. All right.
She's already in here, yes.
Oh,
She's got a big ledger of papers in front of her. There's various piles of correspondence there. Books not just in the shelves, but spread out. From her clearly having been doing research and such. And she, as you enter, she holds up one finger. Hold on. And
Wasn't she the one that asked us to come on here?
Yes, please.
Oh, right.
she continues writing something down.
Ooh.
Then she takes and she folds an envelope. She stuffs it into an envelope. She folds it shut, drips some wax and puts a seal on it, and places it on a pile of outgoing things. Then she looks up at you and says, thank you so very much for coming. I'm
yes, of course.
very, very happy that you were able to make it. Please, do have a seat. And she indicates a few chairs that are sitting around the office there.
I drop directly into one.
Yes.
Oh dear.
Surprisingly, this chair bears your weight with very little effort, as though
a good chair.
large people have sat in it numerous
Pretty good
times.
fucking chair.
Yeah, quality workmanship.
Oh, that's a good chair.
Nothing but the best for Mrs. Harker.
Makes sense.
And she looks around at you and says, "Well, first of all, allow me to offer my condolences on the death of Arthur. He was a very brave man. He was a very, very good friend, and his loss will be felt greatly by our organization."
Yes. Thank you very much. We certainly appreciate it, and
I've,
we too will miss him.
I've received reports from him on all of you and your progress, and I must say that I am quite impressed.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Good news.
You've appointed yourself well in the missions that you have been sent on thus far, and I'm not sure exactly how we're going to proceed from here. We'll have to find someone else to continue on with your tutelage. While you are proven yourself quite competent, I do not know that you are quite ready to be left unsupervised, and I mean that in the best possible way. What we do is dreadfully dangerous.
No offense taken.
Of course.
And despite your impressive list of skills, there is no substitute for experience.
Understood.
Those of my generation had to find our way along as we went, and a lot of very good people were lost as a result of our lack of knowledge of what we were doing. Therefore, when I took over, I made certain, I swore an oath, that never again would I send the unprepared out to face greater threats than they could handle without proper tutelage and training. So I hope you're not insulted by my...
Oh, no,
telling you
not
that.
at all. In fact, it's a
No, I appreciate
brilliant
the
idea.
consideration.
Oh, Well, you get a Benny for sucking up to the right person.
I'm networking.
That's right.
Yes.
So we will give another Benny to Dr. Natura. All right. As you're sitting there, she says, "So, I've gotten reports as to what exactly it was that you found. I sent a team there afterwards to look this place over. I've had somebody go and check Arthur's body to determine what it was that attacked him. I believe that it appeared to have been, my guess is going to be some sort of creature with multiple limbs. And based on evidence that was found, I'm going to say it was some sort of a stone construct. Am I in the ballpark?
Yes.
Very
yes.
astute. Yes, entirely correct.
Yes.
It was a gargoyle.
It appeared to be.
Yes, it was.
Had all the right features.
Yes. Did this particular gargoyle, was it one that could fly?
As far as I'm aware, it jumped out the window, yes? And did it fly away from there?
You know, I actually don't remember.
I
like
thought I
IRL.
remember you did. I think I remember you did say it had wings.
It did have wings.
Yeah.
I do know it got away.
It did
Yeah.
jump out the window and it did fly off into the distance.
Yeah, it's a flight risk.
I
Yes.
wasn't looking exactly, but I believe so, yes.
Yes,
I
it-
didn't hear impact.
It hopped out the window and took off.
Well, that is a bit disconcerting.
You are quite a dear. Thank you.
The local gargoyles that we have tend not to be of the flying or multi-limbed variety, which means that this is not one that is native to our region.
Oh dear.
This is indicative that there is some sort of an outside presence who has brought something along this line into the city.
Do you believe that it's possible to install Ripper tech into creatures?
Very curious that you should ask about that. We have received reports from the field that some of the creatures that our forces are facing have been installed with modifications similar to those that we rely upon.
Oh. And the gargoyle, perhaps? I mean,
The odds that a gargoyle from another place would end up here specifically and kill Arthur specifically are very slim, don't you think?
well, yes, it was a targeted attack, most certainly.
Oh, I agree.
So,
I agree. There was something that Arthur was working on.
do you know what it was?
I do, in fact, know what it was.
I wonder if that's what he wanted to talk with us about.
It is very possible that he was seeking your assistance. It was brought to my attention recently that an artifact of some great power was going to be entering the country. It was some sort of thing from the Americas, I believe, of Mayan, Aztec, one of those sort of things, but an object of significant magical power. Arthur had received word of this through his contacts, and he contacted me about it, and we formulated a plan to proceed. He was going to handle the retrieval of this item when it arrived in country, and he was going to bring it here to the lodge where we could keep it for
Safekeeping.
for safekeeping in the vaults, yes. It is my belief that someone, and I don't know who, someone got wind of this and tried to obtain this item, not knowing that it had not yet arrived in the country.
Has it arrived yet?
Well, that's where I have a bit of a problem.
Oh, goodness.
Oh dear.
Arthur was completely handling that. I have no idea who he was meeting, where he was supposed to perform this exchange, or what the particulars of the exchange were. So we now have a situation where there is an object of great danger, of great peril, coming into the country. Someone knows about it and is seeking it out for what we can only assume to be nefarious ends, and we have no idea what it is or where it is coming or who is bringing it.
Well, I suppose if we find anything, we will tell you.
She looks at you and nods. I would hope that you would do so, yes. I must ask, did Arthur say anything to you about this, or about anything that is going on in the immediate present?
Well, he didn't say much because he was dead.
We haven't heard anything of this category recently.
No, not at all.
However,
I love you dearly.
would you like to
Thanks.
show her?
We did, in fact, in the aftermath of the incursion with the thugs, we did find his day planner, and within that there was some meetings that he was scheduling up for soon. So perhaps those
Meetings, you say?
individuals. Yes.
Which we now can assume is probably connected to this artifact.
I see, I see. May I?
Oh, of course.
Yes, of course.
And you hand it across, and she takes a look, and she's... Arthur. Well, she hands it back to you. I am assuming that he probably wished to meet with you specifically about this. I am
Yes, that is
assuming
my
that he
assumption.
wished your assistance with the retrieval of this artifact and the delivery of it to the lodge here. I must say, I find myself rather short-handed at the moment. Most of the people from the lodge are currently away on missions, rather far afield, and I am rather short-handed. If Arthur felt that you were up to the task of assisting him with the retrieval of this, then I can only trust in his judgment. Would you be willing to undertake the investigation into exactly where this object is coming and where we might be able to find it and get it back here?
Don't we
I'd say
need-
absolutely.
Don't we need supervision?
Well, that is a very good question.
I mean, I don't believe we do. We're very capable individuals, but you had just said, and I don't wish to undermine you.
She kind of
You're not well, are you, Doctor?
I don't know what you mean.
she looks over at you and she kind of gives you a bit of a forced smile. Yes, well, there is another issue at point here. It is an issue that I would prefer not to delve into too deeply. Suffice to say that at the present, and you can tell that she doesn't really want to say what she's about to say. She's got information and she's not sure whether she should give it to you, but you did
Yeah,
kind of force her
same,
hand.
bitch,
You did kind of
same.
call her. You did kind of call her out, and now she's. In our recent meeting, Arthur told me that he was concerned that there was a mole within the organization.
Oh,
Ah.
He was uncertain
Oh, boy.
exactly who he could or
not a
should.
literal mole, dear.
I was going to say, it's real small. What's it going to do to a monster?
You'll have to excuse my husband. He is very good at his job.
That's keeping Joey safe.
He sometimes takes things a little too literally.
I see. He wasn't sure exactly who within the organization he could trust, so we decided that it would be best for the purposes of this to firewall it away and have only Arthur and his team work on it.
I see.
That is why I am enlisting your aid to do this, apart from any other assistance. I feel that if Arthur thought you were up to the task, as I said, I must trust his judgment.
I assume that we would need to keep this quiet. For now.
I would hope, indeed, that you would.
Don't worry, we're not about to share it with any of those others we've met so far.
Very
Right, Craig.
Before we go and do this,
Well,
I do
don't say
have
anything.
one question, and I think it is pertinent to this search. What is the item? And what does it do?
Well, as I said, it is an artifact.
Yes.
It is of perhaps Mayan or Incan or Aztec. I'm not certain of the
American.
details. Something of Mesoamerican culture. I believe that it is some form of it's a ritual item. I don't know much about it. As I said, Arthur was handling all of this. He brought the information to me about it. So I'm afraid that I do not have a lot of help for you. That is why you, fortunately, with your great deductive skills, and you with your vast scientific knowledge, and you with your rather ferocious demeanor, and you with your incredible brawn, I'm going to rely upon to solve this matter for us.
She said I'm brawny.
Yes, dear.
I certainly think that we can do this, if that's all right with you,
Of
darling.
course.
Very well.
Is there anything you could possibly lend us or give us to make sure that we are most equipped for the task? Extra weapons you have lying around, or other various things?
Or some notoriety in case we run into others who may not believe us.
She says, I can give you a document which, should you encounter other members of our organization, will show that you are working on a mission directly for me. That should
Fantastic.
hold you in good stead should you run upon any other members of the group who do not know what is going on. That I can do. Furthermore, we have extensive contacts in law enforcement. We have people placed within Scotland Yard and within the local constabularies throughout the boroughs who can help to cover up things should something go rather awry. However, I must caution you to try to avoid that if at all possible.
Yes. Of course.
A large part of the reason our organization operates in secret is because these creatures that we fight feed on the fear of their victims. Should a panic ensue, it would in fact further empower the monstrosities that we face.
Yes.
Do you feel that you're up to the task?
Of course.
Yes.
Do you feel that you're up to the task? Very
Most
good.
certainly.
She says, I shall return this to you. Who takes it?
I'll take it.
All right. So that
Most
goes
certainly
back.
her, yes.
Yeah.
All right, so that goes back to Noelle. Very well. Feel free to explore the premises. I don't know precisely what sort of equipment you were searching for. If you're not trained on the equipment, I don't know that it would be of much use to you.
To be honest, I was mostly looking for a hammer. Fighting another gargoyle, of course. Not super effective with claws.
Ah, yes. A hammer.
Yeah, they're deathly afraid of hammers, gargoyles.
Is that so?
Science.
He
I
says
shall
a
make-
lot of things.
I shall make a note of that. And she
Right.
politely writes it down.
Yeah, right in your science book.
Yeah, she writes it down, and Craig is beaming, and the rest of you
Crumples
see
it
that
up,
she's
tosses
very
it.
obviously just humoring Craig.
Like you would a child.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes,
oh,
a giant
wow,
7
this
foot
tea's
2,
great.
a giant 7'2", 300-pound child.
Yes.
He
Yes.
really is good at his job, I
Yes.
promise.
He does not. You don't allow him to pet rabbits, do you?
Not usually, no.
And with that, oh no, it's too quick to catch, but these, and he pulls out a kitten from the swarm.
Craig, why do you have Mr. Mittens here?
Well, he was living in my jacket.
How long has he been in your
Did you miss
jacket?
that?
I sort of thought we would have heard something.
Have you fed him?
Yeah, feed him sausages and.
Oh my goodness.
Did you
Oh,
sit on him?
I
No.
am so sorry. We'll take our leave now.
Very good, very good. And she rings a little bell, and the servant who brought you in, he goes and escorts you out. He was obviously standing, just waiting right outside the door there for you to be dismissed. And as you, he says, "Please follow me," and he escorts you back into the main room, and you can spend the rest of the time hobnobbing with the various people, or we can cut on to the next day when you may or may not have something that you wish to do.
We probably spend a while socializing, but I don't know if we need to
All right.
linger on it.
Very good. So, with that, we move on to the next day. It is now the day after the funeral. It is the day after the meeting with Mrs. Harker, and it is also the morning of the first of the meetings that Arthur had written in his day planner.
Cool.
Assuming that that is what you wish to do, he was scheduled for today at 10 a.m. To board the 10:15 omnibus at Piccadilly Circus, going towards Charing Cross Station. And he was supposed to meet someone named Scroggs.
Yes.
That being said, you have no idea who this Scroggs is or who they may be.
I suppose it's a good thing we got a detective here. She could probably sniff them out. Not literally.
You know what
that's my
Scrog
job.
smells like?
No,
Yes,
unfortunately.
Craig. Just
Yes.
to meet him.
But
You're better than I am, darling.
while we're here, I do want to put it out there that we need to be very careful who we give information to,
Yes, of course.
since we do not know who this mole may be, and that includes what's her face?
Miss
Mrs.
Harker?
Harker.
Mrs. Harker.
Really, you believe Mrs. Harker might be?
I don't know who.
I can't imagine she would. She has too many connections to the founding of the organization.
Can never be too sure.
I suppose not. I've
Right.
heard
Well,
such good
and
things about her.
from what she's said, Arthur is the only person who had any information on this. Why is that?
Right.
Don't you think that's a little odd?
Well, it makes sense that she would want to sanction it off, given that she believed there to be a mole.
She didn't even have the information, supposedly. Don't you think that's odd? I'm not the detective here. I'm just...
So where is this conversation taking place? Is this as you're making your way towards the
Yeah.
first place?
Yeah.
As you're walking down the streets, heading towards Piccadilly Circle.
right, hushed tones.
Just out of curiosity, you describe the like your lodgings. Like whereabouts do either of you as couples reside?
I imagine we have like a small little storefront that's got our R&R detective agency
R&R
thing, and we live
detective,
right
yeah.
above it.
Right above
Right.
it.
Yeah,
Small
like a little-
apartment,
like a little
'cause you're
apartment.
struggling detectives.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I love
We have a flat, just, a bottom level flat so that we can have access to a basement where I can have my lab.
That makes sense.
All right, and probably in
All of our
Jinx,
neighbours have left by now. They said things about screams and smells. I don't get it.
It's all right, dear. It just means more privacy for us.
We've been investing in soundproofing recently. It's quite useful. You should get some for yourself.
We should certainly do that when we have the extra time or money.
Yes.
We'll help you with that.
Oh, that'd be lovely.
Very good. As you make your way to Piccadilly Circle, which is one of the large, not really a square. It's a big roundabout there in the near Regent Drive. It's a center of business. It's like Times Square in New York. I
Right.
mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of traffic. There's tons of crowds of people. If you were somebody who was meeting somebody and you were worried about, you wanted to make sure you met in a public place so there couldn't be any kind of crazy double cross sort of things, this is the kind of place you would pick out to meet somebody like that. So as you're making your way there to Piccadilly Circle to catch the thing, you are going along, and you hear a newsboy hawking out, "Extra, extra, read all about it! Body found floating in the Thames! Extra, extra, gruesome murderer amongst us! Extra, extra!"
Pardon me, can I have one of those?
That'll be 2 shillings, my lady.
All right. Just whatever, yeah.
Throw him out.
Pick it up.
Little boy.
Because she doesn't give a shit about the kid. She just needs the paper. She's like,
I fully
yeah,
expected she
sure,
was going to
whatever.
haggle with the kid.
Nah.
Not worth it.
2 shillings? I can get it for 1 shilling down the street.
Oh no, I can't support my medical bills.
Little Timmy? Is that you?
Yeah, so you look, and in big, bold headline across the front of the thing, it says, body found floating in the Thames. Early this morning, fishermen retrieved a corpse that had been floating in the Thames. It had been in there for quite some time. The body was, and this is one of the yellow tabloid sheets, so everything's much more sensationalized, This poor soul, his body was bloated and distended, and the horrors that this poor man did. But the truly gruesome thing is that the skin had been flayed from his skull. Some vicious murderer amongst us. And it goes on and on, with interviews of the people who found him and describing it.
Were they able to identify who it was?
They were not able to identify who it was. They said that he appeared to be a person of some small, not insignificant means, possibly a household servant or something along those lines.
Right.
But not a gutter snipe person, somebody with a respectable job, increasing the terror level of this. Who among us is safe if this can happen here? And as you're reading it, you make your way towards Piccadilly Circle, and you arrive at the square, and the place is, of course, just packed. It is rush hour time, right?
Check the pocket watch.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, you're a little bit early. Even stopping to get the newspaper, you're still on time. And as you're sitting there waiting, there's a big crowd of people waiting there to catch the omnibus, the horse-drawn double-decker buses that they had back in the day. Everybody, why don't you all give me a notice roll?
Gonna just
Notice. I'm theoretically good at that. Yay.
Oh, fingers
where's my
crossed.
Oh,
Oh,
it's actually
I'm
a good
missing my
question.
little bar.
yeah, so am I.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, your little. You don't have tokens there. That's why.
Find my token.
That would...
You guys need tokens if I'm going to make you roll stuff here. I'll throw those.
All right. You said it's a
we
notice
don't
roll?
exist.
Yes, I'll throw these in.
Any modifier?
None other than what you would normally have. No. Nope,
Okay.
you're fine.
There we go.
Notice.
Roll.
I've rolled.
All right.
Oh,
Oh!
Dr. Natura. Very impressive.
Nobody got a raise. Is that correct?
I did. Wait,
No, you got 7.
It just
Yep. So you got a 7.
Yeah.
So for those
I had
watching
an
at home, the way
explosion.
Savage Worlds works is you have in each of your abilities, and I'm not going to go deep dive into the rules here, but for each of your skills, you have a different die type that you can roll. The better you are at something, the higher the die type you have. Most tasks have a target number of 4. So you have to make a 4, meet or beat a 4 with your die roll in order to succeed at the task. If you exceed the target number by an increment of 4, if you go 4 over, so like if you need a 4 and you roll an 8, that is called getting a raise. That's like getting a critical hit with your D20 or something. You get something extra for that. So we had Craig, not unsurprisingly, was watching a squirrel and did not, in fact, notice anything. But Wainwright and Noel and Dr. Natura, as you are waiting for the omnibus there, you notice somebody across the crowd that's gathered around here who is got a newspaper in front of them, and you think, you're not certain, but you think you caught out of the corner of your eye this person looking at you and then covering their face behind the newspaper again.
Did you catch that, darling?
Oh, I was just about to say the same thing. Oh, you have a keener eye than I.
You think the pigeons around here is fatter than they normally are?
I think they are, Craig.
I wasn't really looking, but now that you say it, I'm still not looking.
We have better things to focus on right now, dear. Please.
They do look delicious, though.
I'm sure they're fantastic. What do we do about that?
Well, you're good at talking to people. Perhaps.
Are we just going to shimmy on up to him and ask him how his day's been?
Yeah, that's kind of my thing. I'm not sure.
As you're
how
discussing
to-
this, the omnibus is, you see it approaching and pulling up to
Son of a-
the stop here.
Maybe we can approach him while we're getting on the bus and kind of...
Does he look
just
like
one
he's
of
going
us-
to get on the bus too?
I mean, he's standing kind of in the queue for people who are waiting to catch
I
the
thought
bus.
he
These
was
are not
going
these
to
are
get
not
on
the
the
big
bus.
double-decker buses
Yeah.
they have now. It was like a large carriage that people rode on the
I
top
just
and
want
inside.
to keep an eye on him as we board.
Yeah, because it said board the 10:15 omnibus.
Yeah,
in
so
the
we can't
notes.
miss the bus.
Right.
Yeah.
So so some of the people ride inside. Some of them hold on to the back of it. It's
Right,
it's
however
not-
they can fit.
Yeah, however you can fit.
That's
It's-
probably me.
Yeah.
On the back.
I'm on the
You're
back as well,
dragging the
buddy.
whole thing down.
Yeah. So as you Craig is not even going to try to climb into this small thing.
No.
He's just going to go jump on the back, and as you
Keep
shimmy up to it, the driver looks over at you and does a double take, and he says, "Oh no, you can't get on the horses. Horses are already under enough stress. You'll oh, what the hell, I suppose."
Well,
You
I mean, I'm sure-
gotta hang on the back there. We can't get you inside the carriage.
that was a pain, eh? I know I'm a very beefy boy.
I'm watching the guy with who looked suspicious. Is he coming this way? Is he getting on the bus?
He is moving over towards the omnibus, but he is now that you're watching him, he is doing it in such a way that it appears as though he is kind of trying to keep members of the crowd between you and him. Like he's not walking right to the thing. He's doing that thing where you kind of make your way around.
Pussyfooting.
Pussyfoot a little bit there.
I don't like that.
And such.
No, you
I'm gonna
shouldn't.
sort of.
And then, as you watch, he kind of, he's not looking over at you really. He's definitely keeping his face away from you, and he kind of turns and he pulls up and he hails one of the cabs that's going by.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Yes.
I'm gonna sort of duck a little bit, so I'm a little more hidden by the crowd, and I'm gonna try to sort of flank around and get onto one of his sides, but because he's trying to keep distance, so I'm gonna make sure he doesn't see me, so I can get up next to him.
Right. Okay.
Or at least try.
Sure.
Is that
Yeah, so the way the hansom cabs are, if you're not familiar, you have the horse up front, and then you have, it's like a two-wheeled carriage. The driver sits up on the back, and there are usually two seats side by side right there. It's kind of an open-fronted carriage there. So you can definitely go up to where he is, and see him as the carriage is starting to pull away. The hansom cab is starting to pull away, and the rest of you are on the bus because the bus is loading up, and
Right.
while he's doing this, it's time for the bus to pull out.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I suppose. Craig, darling, could you do me a favor?
Yes, yeah.
And please watch over Wayne. I will stay with Noel.
What do we do?
I'm not even there. I'm over by the cab.
Do you see Wayne over there?
He went that way.
Keep
Oh, right. And then I just go.
Oh, bus is departing! Everybody, it's on the go!
We're on our way. She's mean. She's mean.
There's just something about yelling at a public service guy.
Yeah.
Shut up.
I'm gonna go and
I'm working
intimidate the bus driver.
So he's already in the cab, yeah?
He's in the cab, yeah.
All right,
He's still got his paper up in front of his face there. He's definitely
He's really committing to the bit.
he's committing to the bit there.
I'm making my way over to the cab, and I assume the door's closed.
Yeah, it's not really even so much a door. I mean, there is kind of a little gate in front of it, sort of thing, that closes so that like the horses that they kick up mud, it doesn't go all over your clothes and whatever.
Yeah.
So there's a little opening door that opens on the front of the thing, right behind the horses, and then it has a little glass window there, so they can see out the front. But the horses kick mud up on it, it gets all dirty and stuff. So yeah, you would get into the front of it, but he's already closed the little door there.
All right, I'm
And
just.
the driver is, he shouts down to him, "Where to, sir?" And he says, "Just start driving." And
I'm gonna. Can I hop onto the side bit of the carriage so I can hold on to the side of it?
So you could try that. The driver, if he sees you doing that, might think, "Hey, get off there," and hit you with the horsewhip or something.
Right, that would be not
thing.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's not big. It's like the little riding crop kind of thing that he uses to whack at the horses. So, you're not getting a free ride on the side of his cab.
No.
That's for damn sure.
No, I'm gonna.
That would be what would happen there.
I'm gonna try to wave him down. As he starts pulling, I'm excuse me, sorry, the man you have in your carriage. I need to have a word with him.
very quickly.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Very.
I'm not good at talking to people. It's not my thing.
I come walking. I'd be like, "What we doing, Wayne?"
Well, if they start driving away, please stop them from doing
I just
so.
go and like I jump on the back of the the cab, and I just stand on the back of it.
Weigh it down so it can't
Yeah.
move.
Yeah.
Right, make sure it doesn't leave. I got you.
Well, that worked remarkably well. That's not
Yeah,
moving
you step
anymore.
onto the back, and the part that's connected to the horses kind of lifts up, and the horses are because all of a sudden the harness that's pulling them has been lifted back by you jumping on the back of the
Sorry,
cab.
horse.
Seesawing.
You just take like 1 foot off of it, let it relax a little bit.
No.
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 Yeah, I'm making my way over to the door, and I'm just gonna open it if I can, and I'm gonna hop in next to the guy.
So you do that, right? And meanwhile, the omnibus has pulled away.
Yeah.
With 2 of you on.
We are.
All right.
Please stick close.
You pull in. You sit down next to the individual, and as you do that, we're going to cut over to you guys, to you two. Right.
So
you're there on the bus, and it's it's crowded. There's a lot of people in the thing. They're taking seats and whatever, standing up. I don't remember exactly how the London omnibuses work. So let's assume it's like a smaller horse-drawn version of like a normal bus.
Cool.
The same experience, crowded and unpleasant transportation for the hoi polloi as opposed to the upper crust.
we'll try and get into a optimal position to keep an eye on the rest of the bus.
Yep.
Yes.
Very good. And you certainly can. You can sit there and position yourselves. Are you both staying together? Are you splitting up, one at the front, one at the back, so you can see, or one person gonna
I feel like
look at the
because-
top of the bus, one person watch the bottom of the bus?
Because our muscle isn't here, we should probably stick together.
That's
just
a
in
good
case.
Hey,
point.
muscle, go help muscle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna
Let's take care
say.
of this.
It seems that
We are perfectly capable young ladies.
Hey, you're the only one that hurt the.
You have a shotgun.
Yes.
so
I
you
I
guys
have a
are fine.
shotgun.
Yeah, you
Yes.
do have a shot.
Where, by the way, are you carrying your shotgun here as you're
I
making
keep
your way
it-
through?
I keep it
through-
under my cloak.
It is a sawed-off. So you
It is
can
a
store
sawed-off
it.
shotgun.
Yeah. So
Yes.
it's not humongous because I am not a humongous person.
You're sawed off.
Yeah, I'm sawed off at the
I'm
knees. I'm rather small.
Oh no.
So yeah, I just keep it like tucked. I got like a holster for it to keep it back here.
All right, and you got like one of those.
And then I got a big old
cloak.
cloak.
All right.
Because London.
It is. It is. Yeah, you're not walking through a dungeon or space pirating through the outer reaches here. You're in. You're in the city.
Cramped London.
Cramped, smoggy, fetid, smelly.
Yeah, definitely smelly.
Stinky, foggy, 1890s London.
All the adjectives.
Thank God I carry soap.
We do.
Yeah.
Covered in shit.
Literally.
Probably, yeah.
The omnibus pulls away. You guys are on the thing, and you're kind of looking around, trying to find out what you're supposed to do now, because all it said was get on the thing, headed towards there, and he was supposed to meet this Scroggs person. Looking around, you see a bunch of people, who are like on their way, probably, home from work, or who are on their way to the market, or who are, going about the business of their day here. Nobody leaps out at you immediately as whoever he might have been planning to meet. So what would you like to do here as you are finding yourselves on this bus with no idea who it is that you're supposed to come into contact with?
Detective.
Noelle's a detective. Lindsay's not. Oh man, if no one's like sticking out, what is the next thing that you try looking
Is
for?
not notice?
I don't know. I guess if no one is like sticking out as in like attire wise or something, I don't know if there's any person that kind of seems they're trying to stay off by themselves, or if maybe they have a seat open next to him for like if Arthur came, then like that would be a good thing for him to like hop over there and just
That's
be like,
that's
hey
a very
there.
good point. Yeah, because this
Okay.
place is full and people are standing, and yet there is one person who is sitting there by themselves, and they've kind of managed to take up 2 seats by manspreading, which what do you do on a bus other than that? So you do see one person who is sitting by themselves.
Okay, and when I also I clock that, does it kind of maybe seem like, can I notice them trying to like eye around possibly?
They are, well, I'll tell you what, now you can give me that notice check.
Haha.
Haha.
There we go.
Both of us are just Lindsay.
Well, she's the one who's
Yeah, I'd say I'm kind of
scoping
keeping
them out and
this
trying to
my-
find this out. So
myself or thing. So notice, roll.
right.
Okay.
So a 4.
4.
I will say that you get the sense, given your vast experience with interviewing people and deductive reasoning and all of that sort of detective business that you're about. You definitely get the sense that this individual is not only not looking around for somebody, they are decidedly trying to look as though they are not looking around for somebody.
Yeah, that's trying to be not telling. It's very telling.
Exactly.
I'll lean to Dr. Nator and just be like, that's like kind of maybe kind of using her head a little bit to point out the individual over there, just like, it's possible that might be our guy.
Well, would you like to take care of it, or would you like me to do it? You're much more tactful than I.
Yeah, I was going to say, I just wanted to let you know what was up, and I think I'll make my way over, see if I can.
I will also make my way over,
Yes.
but not
So obvious.
so obviously.
Right. So you go over to where this person is sitting, and they're.
I'll just kind of hover near the area.
They're just kind of sitting there, with the legs spread. He kind of looks up at you. Sorry, seat's taking.
Oh, is it? By who?
By me.
No, you don't need both seats.
Well, as a matter of fact, I'm meeting somebody and I'm holding the seat for him. But there's plenty of other people around here who might let a lady such as yourself sit down and give their seat to you. I am not that person.
This guy's a dickhead.
Yeah, I see. Well, I'm also meeting someone. Perhaps we're meeting the same person.
Oh, really? I sincerely doubt that.
Well, tell me, who are you meeting?
Yeah, no. Well, are you out of your mind? I'm not telling you anything like that. Just go on about your business. Go on about your business.
Do I just be like that? I don't know.
You could try asking.
Are you Scroggs?
And with that, the kind of cocky, dickish demeanor that he's been putting on kind of slips a little bit, and he says, "Who are you?" And he kind of moves over for you to sit down.
Oh, now you let me sit. Thank you.
Who are you, and why are you looking for me? And now all of a sudden he's looking around the thing as if he's very, very nervous.
Because I believe we have the same connection. If you will be so kind as to divulge that to me now.
All right, look, I was supposed to meet a friend here who was supposed to get on the bus at that stop. He didn't. And now you're here asking about me. So I want to know what the bloody hell's going on here. Did Arthur send you?
In a way, in spirit, he sent us.
Pretty good.
Thank you. Sorry, jokes. Maybe I shouldn't be joking about that. Arthur, unfortunately, is not with us anymore. Arthur's been compromised.
Oh, shit. Let me off! Let me off!
Why? What's the problem? The kind of like eyeing with Dr. Natura being like, might need some backup if this guy's trying to get out of here.
He's freaking out. He's
Yeah.
like,
Dr. Natura.
he obviously not only wasn't expecting Arthur to not be here, he had no idea Arthur was dead, and the fact that you said the word compromised instead of, he met an untimely this guy just completely
I
cracked the brick
see
here.
that.
He's like,
Yeah.
Well,
all right, let me off. Bus driver, omnibusman.
that's when you
Dr.
have
Natura
Lindsey
will
and not
walk.
Mel.
That's okay.
Will walk over with her newspaper that she bought and just kind of like, it's open so it doesn't hurt, but she kind of like hits him in the face with it. And it's like, oh, pardon me, allow me to just squeeze in right here. And she'll like crush herself between whoever's next to him and on the other side.
Is
and
it the side with the shotgun?
No.
Oh,
She'll lean
damn.
in real close to him and be like, if you don't shut your bloody fucking trap, you're going to get us all killed. Intimidation.
Gonna do an intimidation check
Yes.
on that? Nice.
I'm glad that we're shaking down the wrong guy, by the way.
That's right.
It's probably this dumbass that got killed. Intimidation.
I mean,
So,
considering how easily frazzled he got.
At the 4?
Yeah. So the fact that you have just such a calm, steely-eyed, this little
My eyes
this
are
tiny little
so
woman,
dark you can't see the pupils. Like it's like
Yes, this tiny woman who comes out of nowhere, sits down, muscles into him, and basically says, "Shut the fuck up," you know.
like you actual idiot. What
Yeah.
are you doing?
And he kind of he catches his breath. He looks around. All right. Yeah, you're right. I shouldn't call attention.
How long have you been working?
Long enough.
Are you sure?
Long enough to notice something really bad is going on here. And,
Long enough to know better.
Yeah.
Yes.
I had information that Arthur wanted me to get for him, and I found some things out.
Well, now it's here for us.
Yeah, I was gonna
So
say,
if you could
suggest
just be so
you-
kind as to
Yes.
do that, that'd be fantastic.
Right. And with that, we're going to cut back over to here. The cab is there. The horses are kind of bucking and winning. And actually, they're starting to kick up a little bit now because, you know, they are not used to having their thing pulled up. And, you know, like people, you know, bystanders are kind of, you
We're
know,
just making huge
people are giving a
scenes.
wide berth as these horses are starting to freak out. The cabbie, he turns around ready to shout at you and hit you with the thing, and then he sees you. And then
Standing upright.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you're
All
headed
eye to eye
higher
level.
up on him. He's sitting way up on top of the cab, and you're like looking him right in the face, and he's like,
Hello.
and you go in and sit down next to the person in the
my
cab,
goodness.
right? And he's got the newspaper up there. And I'm sorry, what did you say to him?
I just got in.
You just got in.
So I sit down right next to him, and I look up at him, and I go, "You're acting quite suspicious for just a random person. Do you happen to know a Scroggs, by any chance?"
And he puts down the newspaper, and he takes a deep breath, and then he lets out a breath, and then he drops the newspaper, and when he does, he's holding a revolver at you. That's not the disconcerting part.
Mm-hmm.
The disconcerting part is that it is Arthur looking at you.
What?
And,
Shut the fuck up.
and with that, we are gonna call a
Hold
halt to this
on.
episode.
Wait. Well, now I'm glad I sent Muscle to help Muscle. Like, what's happening?
I need to cut being a detective because there was a body there, and apparently I gotta retire, guys.
I gotta quit being a
No, wait,
doctor
it's
because
gotta-
I was sure he was dead.
It's got to be a doppelganger.
All right.
Right?
I am hoping that all of you are as confused and gobsmacked as the players here obviously are. Thank you for joining us for this episode 1 of Rippers, brought to you by our lovely cast and a Health Hits Experience production. We will be picking this up and hopefully finishing it off next week if things go according to plan, my evil plans. In the meantime, thank you all for watching. We really appreciate you joining us. Thank you to Cam for offering us these wonderful facilities. Thank you to everybody who helps make this thing possible. Thank you to Brittany, who I hope is not watching this and is instead catching up on some well-deserved sleep at this moment. But when you see the VOD, Brittany, I hope you appreciate it.
Yeah, if you're not asleep right now, we will be mad at you.
We will be very mad at you if you're not sleeping.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, everyone, and join us again next week to see what the hell is going on in Rippers.